If you were stuck on an island with your horrible CEO boss, would you help save him or would you just off him in the beginning? Hello, my name is Megan. Welcome to this video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the movie Send Help. Send Help is a 2026 American film co-produced and directed by Sam Raimi, written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift. The film stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien as an employee and her boss, respectively, who become stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash and attempt to survive while tensions rises between them. Can they make it out of the jungle? It is labeled as a psychological horror, but I saw it as more of a thriller, more than anything. So throughout the video, this is just going to be spoiler free, like I mentioned at the beginning, and these are my thoughts. Rachel McAdams plays Linda Little in the movie, and she's been working hard to earn a VP position at the company. But like always, if you're not within the top circle of corporate companies, it can be a long, futile road. Dylan O'Brien playing Bradley Preston, his dad passed away, and he inherited his dad's company, and you know how that goes. Like, as the dad builds it, the son ruin it. It's basically kind of going like that. And Bradley comes much like an asshole throughout the whole movie. I hate him. I fucking hate him. And then there's a scene in the movie where the Allstate guy talks with Bradley and says, your dad promised Linda a VP position. She's a workhorse. She knows, ins and out of the company. She's good at her position. You need to give her this position because the person, Donovan, who he wants to promote, doesn't know anything. And in the beginning, Donovan goes up to Linda's desk and basically says, hey, do you have, the file or hey, do you have the, presentation to show the board meeting? While she did all the work, Donovan just comes in and be like, hey, look, I did it. Donovan's clean cut. Donovan's tall. Linda looks a little dorky. Looks a little like nerdy. Looks a little awkward. So she doesn't fit in this room, but she works hard and, she's done all the grunt work. When she gives the file to Donovan, she's a little worried like, hey, do they know it's me doing this? Donovan tells Linda, don't worry, I'll go in the meeting and say you did all this. There's a sticky note with, Linda's name on it. But once he enters the room, Linda kind of passes by and sees him, and she sees him take the sticky note off, and he tells the boardroom, "Hey, look, I worked long and hard for this thing. Here's my report, yada yada yada." And instead of picking Linda, who is the right person for the job, Bradley picks Donovan, and the Allstate guy tells him Donovan doesn't know anything. He's gonna fucking struggle in the Bangkok meeting because they go to Bangkok, and obviously on the way to Bangkok, the plane just fucking crashes. And Bradley's reasoning was he wanted somebody he can go to golf with. Bradley wanted somebody who is going to be a people pleaser, who is going to, work well with clients, look good, look presentable, because, the differences are there. However, money doesn't care. Money's, if you want to make a good deal, you would have to pick Linda. And in the movie, like I said before, Linda comes off as nerdy and happy, a little bit awkward, but she's smart, she's independent, which Bradley hates. Bradley just hates her, and he doesn't hide it at all. So Linda's mad about the announcement of Donovan getting the VP position because he hears from a coworker. Well, she goes into Bradley's office and says, "I needed that. That was your dad promised that to me." And Bradley basically says, "You know what? Come to the Bangkok trip and prove to me why you deserve the position." And as you can tell from the trailer, that doesn't go as planned. And while on the plane, Donovan plays a video of a Survivor audition tape about Linda. All the guys on the plane start making fun of her, and right after that, the plane gets hit with a gust of wind, and they've entered a big storm, and I think the plane gets hit by lightning or something, but the plane, obviously starts to rip in half, killing all the other passengers, leaving Linda and Bradley as the sole survivors of the plane. And from here, this is where the main story takes place. So I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the movie spoiler free in terms of, because the whole plot takes place obviously on an island. Without giving too much away, I'm just going to share what I really liked about the movie and what I really didn't like about the movie. I thought the pace of the movie was great. It's very detailed, and what a person who knows, has outdoor knowledge and knows how to survive, basically a survivalist, should do first. The character Linda was amazing. I hated Bradley the whole fucking time in the movie. I like the back and forth emotion between Linda and Bradley, and this movie definitely plays with your emotions, because at one point of the movie I'm rooting for one person, and at one point it starts to switch and you don't want it to switch. That's what's fucking crazy. And there's a few twists in this movie which I was conflicted on, but it hides it very, very well. And in one of the moments in the movie, I found myself shocked. This movie is very fun. This movie is a bit long. I think it's close to 2 hours, I think, with with run credits. But at no point was I bored. At no point was I like move on to the next part of the movie, because it's so detailed in what they have to like hunt, gather, and everything. It's fucking awesome. I was glued the whole time. And then seeing Linda and Bradley as their dynamic and how they react to each other's actions and reactions, that's where the psychological comes in handy. And then Bradley realizes, hey, I need to rely on Linda to survive here. So he kind of comes to the terms like, let's work together to gather more food, build a better base because a storm is coming. And I think Bradley has a fractured leg because Linda said he's not broken. So over time, he starts to like walk a little more, starts to heal, and he helps to build a better base because before Linda built a base on the shore, a storm came and blew it away. And just like in the beginning of the trailer, you can tell that, Bradley was trying to boss her, like, hey, I'm your boss, you listen to me. And Linda's like, we're not in the office. And, Linda basically has all the power on the island. Back then, Bradley had the power. Now, Linda has the power. And then Linda and Bradley have this back and forth control. Like, they're fighting for control. At one point, a knife washes up on shore. So if you have a working knife in the middle of an island, that's going to be big. You can cut things. You can, cutting fish is a lot easier. Cutting, animals makes it more smoother. And then obviously, for a fact of watching, Bradley's going to do some backstabbing. So I was waiting throughout the whole movie to watch it. And sure enough, it came. It's not as predictable, but it's definitely a good switch. It's a bait and switch. And you're like, okay, I was just waiting for that. I was just waiting for what was going to happen. From what I got, this movie plays a big part on, power rules. Like I said before, Bradley is the CEO on the mainland. And then Linda, she has all the power here on the island. Because Bradley doesn't know anything how to survive on the island. Their need to survive, Linda knows all the knowledge. Linda has all the power here. And she used it against Bradley in more ways than one. And this movie also shows how like unfair corporate can be. But I'm pretty sure if you worked in an office, you know how that goes. If you're not in the inner circle, if you're not buddy with someone at the top, you're not going to get picked for the position. And in this case, a woman was looked over. And then finally, the shoe's on the other foot. And now she has all the power. And instead of like showing brutality towards Bradley, she kind of shows a little bit of grace. And he still thinks he can boss her around when, she clearly doesn't need him. She doesn't need no man, girl. She don't need no man. And then Linda made the island more homey. The base was more like, it looked nice and organized. So hats off to Linda. Bradley definitely would have died if Linda was not there. There's two parts of the movie that made me question Linda. I was like, okay. But it makes the movie work so well. And there are some jump scares. The jump scares got me a little bit. It got me. It got the theater. There was like two good ones. I was like, man. The climax of the story, you kind of, where it goes. And then I thought the ending was too fast, but it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't ruin the storyline at all. It's definitely more about the survival, how Linda and Bradley both display what they have to do to survive on an island, and I understand from both perspectives. I can see why they both do what they do in order to survive. Because technically, there's no rules on an island. On an island, in a thing like that, the rule book's out the window, for sure. Like, you don't have to listen to me. I don't have to listen to you. But in order to survive, Bradley had to listen to Linda. Linda had to kind of keep Bradley at bay. And at the same time, Linda was very nice. Bradley was a complete asshole throughout the movie, but it's so well done. I feel like this movie's so much fun. This movie is basically a 9 out of 10 for me. What would be the missing point? I thought it was going to be a little more gory. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like the jungle was going to have more danger to them. But in reality, it was a human. But anyways, that's my spoiler-free review rant on the movie. It's very psychological. It's very detailed. Like, the beginning's very detailed. Like, you begin to hate Bradley off the rip. But it's such a good movie. Like, go watch it. It's not boring at all. Go watch it. It's a lot of fun. I'm definitely probably gonna pick it up. Because like anyone, if you really like something, you buy a DVD or you buy a VHS. I'm definitely gonna buy this one. 9 out of 10. The only missing point, I wish it was a little more gory. But other than that, it doesn't ruin the storyline. It doesn't ruin the twist. It's a lot of fun. But anyways, that's all we have for today. Like I said, I could go more into it, but I would just be giving the movie away, and I really want you guys to watch it. That is my spoiler-free review of the movie Send Help. Basically, any movie that comes out in theaters, I'm going to be reviewing it here. I think the next video is going to be a reaction video to paranormal stuff, and I'm going to be trying doing a play with me on my Twitch. That's not really going, but I'll just throw it up on here, whatever I stream. I think it'll just be Dead by Daylight and some Outlast to see how how scared I get. It's gonna be fun here. It's gonna be a variety channel, paranormal stuff, any horror events I'm gonna go to. Like I went to Midsummer Scream, I vlogged that. Anything in terms of like some weird stuff, I'm definitely gonna be talking about some deep stuff here as well. Nothing just surface level. Like I want to talk about why asylums do what they do, like horrific lobotomies. I'm gonna talk about death. I'm gonna be talking about. I already have a true crime, but maybe into the mind of some serial killers. It's just gonna be a good time here. But anyways, my name is Miggy. This is Miggy's Macabre, and I will see you all in the next video and in the next horror movie review.